Hello and welcome to my channel. Today the topic of my channel is quotient of two products. So the quotient of two products is formed by dividing the first product by the second. So in our example 1 we have a to the power of 5 divided by a squared. So we could first start, especially if this is an introduction and this is your first time doing it, we would start by saying a times a times a times a times a. So here I am expanding a to the power of 5 divided by a squared, which is a times a. So what we do is we're going to look at the first a, and we're going to say a divided by a will cancel out, and a divided by a will cancel out. So what am I left with? I'm left with above a to the power of 3, because there are 3 a's left, over 1, which is just a to the power of 3. Okay, now let's look at another example. Number 2, we could have b to the power of 5, c squared divided by b to the power of 2, and here we would have c. Now, if I expand my numerator, which is the top part, I'm going to have b times b times b times b times b. There are 5 b's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times c over, and underneath we have 2 b's, so b times b and 1c. Now, we're going to divide out again. We'll say one of these b's will cancel out with one of those. One of these b's will cancel out with one of those, and one of these c's will cancel out with one of those. What is left? You will notice in this case that we have 1, 2, 3 b's left on top, as well as a c. So your final answer will be b cubed c. Now, we're going to look at something different, or let's just talk about what we notice here. If your bases are the same, and your base in this case is a, and you have 5 here, and you have 2, and your answer is 3, but the multiplication, when we were multiplying and our bases were the same, we were adding. In this case, we are subtracting. We're saying 5 minus 2 is 3. And the same would apply in the second sum. We have a base of b, and we have 5, and 5 minus 2 would give me 3, base of b. Here we have c, and so we're going to subtract 2 minus 1, which would give me 1. So it's c to the power of 1, which is just c. Okay, so when our bases are the same and we are dividing, we are allowed to subtract the exponents. Okay, now let's look at a different one. If I have 3, now here we have a cubed divided by a to the power of 4. And I'm going to expand the way I did in the previous ones. It's a times a times a over a times a times a times a. Right, so here we're going to cancel again. A goes into a once and once, a divides into a once and once, and a divides into a once and once. Now here just be really careful, because your numerator, we don't have anything above, but it's actually 1. It's going to be 1 over a. Now think about it this way. If I have 12 divided by 6, my answer is going to be 6 goes into 6 once, and 6 goes into 12 2 times. My answer would be 2 over 1, which would give me 2. Right? So here you would get 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. Okay, that's the 1 part. If you had 6 over 12, you would say 6 goes into 6 once, and 6 goes into 12 2 times. You actually have a fraction of a half. So I want you to look at it this way. We are now looking at a fraction 1 over a, as in looking at number 3. Okay, let's look at number 4. Okay, number 4, we have y cubed over y to the power of 5. And here we're going to have y times y times y over y times y times y times y times y. Now, I'm going to talk about the rule in a minute, but before that, let's just complete the sum. So y goes into y once and once. Y divides into y once and once. Y divides into y once and once. Okay, so here we're going to get left with 1 over, and what am I left with in my denominator? I'm left with 2y, so it's y over y squared. Now remember the rule we spoke about, if our bases are the same, we are allowed to subtract. So if I go back to number 1, and I said 3 minus 5, I would get negative 1. Now, if you're in grade 8 or year 8, we don't really do negative exponents at that stage. So I will explain that in another video. So what I want you to take note of is, if we go back and we look at number 1, and you look at a to the power of 5 over a squared, we have more a's above. So your answer is basically going to be above, a cubed over 1. And number 2, we have more b's above than below. So your answer is going to end up with b cubed, c, because there are more c's above. But if you look at number 3, you will notice here that you have more a's underneath. So you've got 3 above and 4 underneath. You get 1 left underneath. The same applies for number 4. Number 4, you have more y's underneath. So when you're working it out, you're going to get left with 2 y's underneath. So it's going to be in the form of a fraction 1 over y squared. Okay, let me do one. I've got a few more to do. I just want to show you another one. So let's look at number 5. So what happens if we have 3 x to the power of 4 over 12x, right? So we would apply the same rule that we applied previously. We would say 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So we are left with a quarter, basically 1 over 4. Then we're going to look at our bases. I have 1x underneath, and I have 4 x's above. So one of the x's at the bottom will cancel with 1 on the top, and I'll be left with 3 x's above. So my answer is basically going to be 1x cubed over 4, which can also be written as x cubed over 4. So you basically don't need to put the 1 there. You can just write it as x cubed over 4. Right, let's do one more. Number 6. We have 10x cubed over negative 2x. So here I'm testing dividing by your signs, using your signs basically. So we're going to say a positive divided by a negative will give you a negative. Then we go and we look at our numbers. And here we're going to have 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. So we're left with a 5 above. Then the next part is we've got 1x underneath. So one of these x's will cancel out with one of the x's above. And so therefore you're going to have 2 x's left on top. So that's x squared. Now because I've drawn my line, I'm going to write it over 1 because there's just 1 left underneath. And my final answer will be negative 5x squared. Okay, and let's just do one more, last one. If I have negative 50 x to the power of 4 over negative 10 x squared, we're going to start with the signs. A negative divided by negative will give me a positive, right? 50 divided by 10 will give me 5. and we have 4 x's above and 2 underneath, so 2 of the x's below will cancel with 2 of the x's above, and I'll be left with 2 x's above, which is 5x squared. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.